Yeah, okay. So fundamentally, what we look at the definition of a scam is it's a dishonest scheme, and I feel that college is quite dishonest in that it kind of preys on young people, indicating that you need to go to college to, be able to get a job. When in reality, what we're seeing is that a lot of college graduates either A, aren't even getting a job, or B, they're actually getting a job in a different, field in which they, majored in or graduated in. So fundamentally, it's kind of not necessary. And it's just basically like an unnecessary tax on the people by the government, which is why they're, forced, why they're heavily pressured from a young age to go to college. And that's why the government wants to keep on them, just to put them in debt. But if you disagree, feel free to say.
Okay, so unless you're over the age of 25 and you don't have any HCP, college is free. So not entirely sure where you're getting that. University you have to pay for, but college you don't have to pay for.
Yeah, university. I'm just in college for like, the American audience as
Oh,
well.
right. Okay. Yeah, my bad. No worries.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily agree. I think that for certain jobs, you need to learn how to do those jobs. So my partner is a special visual effects designer for Hollywood movies. Now, he would have to have gone to college and university to study that, and he did. And he now works on Hollywood films. For you to be a teacher, you need to go to university. You need a degree to become a teacher. You need an engineering degree to get into certain engineering jobs. You can do it through the armed forces. I know that they offer qualifications as well, so you don't necessarily have to go to college. But I feel like there are a lot of jobs out there that you do need university for.
Yeah, and whilst you may have a point, I'd argue even within those degrees, for example, engineering or what you said you're someone's a visual effects designer. I think even within those degrees, I don't imagine that they'd require every single thing they've learned in all of their classes. If you ask any college graduate if they felt that some classes they didn't really need to take or that wasn't necessary, I'm sure a lot of them would be like, yes, and there's some classes which I took which I feel that I really didn't need to take. And also, some people in the comments at least brought up the doctor as well. They actually found that people called physician associates, which are also kind of called like doctors, like fake doctors, actually earn more than doctors, and that only require like 3 years of training, just showing that the training is just too expensive and overdue, and that it's not necessary. And not to include the fact that again, these are a very small minority of jobs, like majority of degrees, you don't need them for the job that they're doing, hence the statistics I brought up. So yes, it's only for a specific like number of jobs, and even then it's arguable whether it needs to cost that much, especially as it used to be subsidized by the government university, but it's changed. But I hope that responds to what you're saying. But
Yeah, I don't think it needs to cost that much. I mean, if you in the UK, if
I
you
think
are
they're trying to increase it to 12,500.
if you're a Scottish citizen, then you get to go to university for free. So it does show that it can be covered by the government. And if you are incarcerated, if you're in prison, etc., you get all your degrees for free, which I think is incredibly unfair. But I think for certain jobs you do need a degree. I know that I've got a pretty good job, and I didn't go to college nor university. I got all my qualifications via the internet and online courses that are accredited, and I'm doing quite well. My brother was in the Navy, and he's an underwater surveyor now in the Navy, which obviously didn't cost him anything. So I think you do have a point, but I do think that there are certain jobs that do require the qualifications that you get from university/college. But you're right. I don't think it needs to cost that much. I mean, the books in America are like $2,000 for a book. Like, that's stupid.
Yeah, that's very true. But yeah, appreciate you coming on, but
Yeah,
yeah.
thank you.
Alrighty. Guys, double tap that screen. I noticed there's a couple people joining. I'm going to try and read some comments. As kids, I still your Lord and Savior. Absolutely. Also, physician associates aren't there to replace doctors. They kind of are, and they earn way more. In fact, it takes years for doctors actually to replace them, just showing that even the medical degree is kind of a bit of a scam, especially with the low paying job you get at the end. And so that's kind of the point I'm making. A lot of university and college is actually just not necessary. How will people become doctors? Yes, but it's definitely oversubscribed. We don't need this many. They're barely making anything. So truthfully, from what I know, it is a scam. From what I can see and what I can tell. Anyways, yeah, the point is that I don't believe that you necessarily need a degree in many situations that people are like, oh, you need a degree when you actually don't. And so, yeah, physician associates are the most useful people, right? And they earn more than actual doctors, which just shows that it's just not necessary for it to cost that much to even get a medicine degree. But that's the point I'm making. Anyways, double tap the screen. If you disagree with the statement above me, press the guest request. Make sure you're over the age of 18 and I will get through. If you disagree with college being a scam, the point is that outside and a lot of people will say that, oh, you need a college degree to earn more. And whilst that's true, I think you're struggling with the correlation causation fallacy that just because people go to college earn more doesn't necessarily mean because they went to college they earn more. They tend to already have better connections, better all of these. So it didn't necessarily come from college, from what I'm saying, from what I know. But yeah, also, no, jobs, it's just like a piece of paper to give to an employer being like, hey, I went to this, certain thing and I did it for 3, 4, however many years your degree is. I did this certain thing routinely. Please give me a job. That's fundamentally what it is. Anyways, guys, double tap the screen. If you disagree with the statement above me, press the guest request and I'll debate you.
Hello?
Hey, how old are you?
I'm 18.
And you disagree with the statement above me?
Yeah.
Also, guys, double tap that screen. The screen
I
go
feel like
live.
this way, there's a difference. Like, I think some people think that I need a university or college degree just to get like any decent paying job in general, which I don't agree with. But I feel like just to say that that university or college as a whole is a scam is wrong. Because I feel like, like you say, doctors or engineering, depending on which
So
engineering.
1 second. Again, when you bring up these jobs, as I've just stated, that's a very small minority. The vast majority of degrees you'd have to then say are a scam, especially as number one, it's just a piece of paper to give to employer to show that you did something, or number two, it's majority of graduates don't even utilize that degree in the field that they're going into, and so yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's a piece of paper. It's a piece of paper that shows that you spent the dedication to do 3 years.
And the debt is not necessarily worth it. With interest as well, will actually keep going, and it'll be harder and harder to pay back. Just indicating more that the fact that you have to go into it at like such a young age is kind of dangerous for what I'm saying.
Well, you say people at 18 are too young to go into
Yeah,
debt.
I mean, you're going into how much debt that's going to have interest, meaning that there's a good chance that you won't ever pay it back, and you have to wait till it wipes off. But that's after 30 years, once you're already old enough to the point where you're basically going to pass away very soon. So the point is that again,
Wait, what?
it's a lot of money. What?
You'd be around what 40 something. That's not very. It's not pass away very soon.
No, you'd be I believe it's
30
like
years.
30. I think it
Or
can be like
50
30,
something.
40 years. I think they've
Yeah,
increased it from
30
what I
years.
know.
You like, even if you're 50, that's not pass away soon kind of age.
Okay, well, that's still a lot of time, and it's a lot of money that you have to pay back, and it's harder with less jobs. They're earning less, and it's much more difficult to be able to make that much from what I'm.
I mean, what I agree that was when many jobs that don't need a degree ask for degrees, which is true. I agree with that. Obviously, that makes people think that, oh, if I want to get a decent paying job, I have to go to university. I have to get a degree. I don't agree with that. I feel like unless you know the job you're getting to needs a degree, you shouldn't go to university. You shouldn't
Right,
go
and
to
the point is that majority of people who are like only 18 or for pushing children to university. That's a good point. They kind of have this pressure that if you don't go to university, you're a failure. Or if you don't go to university, then you're doing something wrong. When in reality, I think a lot of people would be better suited not going to university. And it's also just not helping. Even as a country as a whole, you don't want all the people going to university. The issue with that is because everyone having a degree just waters the value of a degree. It no longer means anything. A degree is useless. Like, what actual use does it have? Like, it's really kind of watered down and it doesn't mean much anymore. So that's the point which I'm also just trying to make. So anyways, double tap the screen. But yeah, Riley, I appreciate you coming on, but I do want to make sure that I'm changing it up a bit. But I appreciate you coming on. Anyways, guys, double tap the screen. Also, if you disagree, join the guest request. Spirehead, I can't have you on because you're under 18. I can't have you on because you're under 18. But yeah, I feel like it's very dangerous to push degrees to everyone Yeah, especially when it may not suit them. But Spy, I can't bring you on. I would, but I can't. I'm sorry. TikTok rules, it won't let me. Anyways, but yeah, degrees are kind of scam. Brody, you're under 18. How old are you? Okay. You have to be over 18, buddy. I'm sorry, I can't. They'll ban me, trust me. Hey, how old are you?
I'm 19.
And do you disagree with the statements above me? Or the
Yeah, because in the UK we've got university and college, and in Scotland university is free. But I go to college, which I don't know what used to be called college over here. But I go for my apprenticeship, which is crucial for my career. I get paid for by the government over here.
Wait,
I haven't
so
paid a
what's the
thing.
situation? Hold on one second. What did you say your situation was? You're a bit all over the place.
Well, college over here is like different.
What country are you in?
University,
What country are you in?
Scotland.
Okay, so you have it for free. University is basically free for you.
But I've got college, which I don't have to pay for. Like when I go up there,
Yeah, but
my
I bet
hotel's
in my
paid.
case, if you're in Scotland, I'd be talking about university, for instance, which you don't have to pay for. I believe the government pays for it. So in that case, yeah, of course, it wouldn't be a scam. But the cost of something really can factor into whether it's a scam or not. The fact that university costs so much with interest, and it's tens of thousands for just a piece of paper that tells employees something, which is kind of useless now because everyone has it. It's kind of definitely falling into scam territory, and it's genuinely not worth it.
Yeah, it depends what degree you get though, because you get a really high paying job that pays everything back
Yeah,
really
but how
quickly.
many graduates are going to go straight into a high paying job, number one? And number two, yeah, that's becoming even more and more rare. And as degrees are becoming more meaningless. And unless you really know what you want to do, which majority of 18-year-olds don't know what they want to do, then it kind of falls into scam territory. Also, the fact that, no, yeah, the fact that you just simply are very unlikely to know what you want to do. And even in the case where you do know what you want to do, a degree may not always be like a good, like an actual valid thing to go through. So, yeah.
Well, college, in the way I see it, and the way I've been told, is it's just showing an employer that you can show up on time, you can show up to a certain place every day for a certain amount of years.
Yeah, and something else that I need to mention is that majority of jobs can be learned on the job. Like that's another thing I forgot to mention, that a lot of jobs you can learn it through training on the job, like through a paid apprenticeship, which I think would be a much better alternative than to many of these, them to college or university, depending where you're from. And
Oh, I
someone
agree, because some of the colleges I've heard in America can put people in like actual debt for like what, 20 years?
Right, exactly. And that's obviously very inconvenient, having to worry about other things as well as your college debt, which is a big issue. But unfortunately, they have to prey on young people. It's like a pyramid scheme. You have to prey on people who don't know, prey on people who don't really know what it is. And before it's too late, they're already into it. Also, someone mentioned, unless you study finance, STEM, or computer science, don't go to college. Even computer science, you can see a lot of them are struggling with employment. So that's kind of worked out to be a scam because they thought that it would give them employment, but it's in fact a dishonest scheme, which has not given them employment. Hence, the definition of a dishonest scheme is by definition a scam. And so, yeah, finance and STEM. Finance mainly is the only thing I'd say is kind of not a scam, but apart from that, it mostly is. But yeah,
Yeah, well, my mate's going to university next year, but he's on the smart thing. He's took, I think, a full on gap year, and he's working, he's pretty much just saving everything. I think he's put away nearly 20 grand to pay for his accommodation and everything, which will pay for for at least the first 2 or 3 years,
yeah,
which
but
is,
it does really matter what degree he's getting. Is this all going to be worth it? That he's going to get into? Is it like a
oh, yeah, this lad is very smart. We all think he actually may end up being a politician at the end of the day, because he's a very smart young lad.
Okay, well, I wish the best for him, but obviously it's very important to really think about your decisions, because obviously you can think you're going the right way, but you may not necessarily be going the right way.